going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wolfpack Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens. Here with me, as always, are my two co-hosts, Michael Plant and Ike Bonney. What's up, fellas?
Not a whole lot. Just laughing my ass off a whole lot pre-show.
Yes, you've only been producing this show for going on 3 seasons now?
And another
This is
show
the
for
third
another
season.
year, so I mean.
And you don't know what you're doing still, so...
That's fine. I mean, you've been doing this for the same amount of time, and you still can't properly intro us sometimes. So, But that's all right.
Shade,
let's just move on.
All right, let's just move on.
I'm Switzerland on this.
So yeah, what we're doing tonight, we're just kind of doing a whole hodgepodge of stuff. We're gonna give you some training camp news. Some of it's small, some of it's kind of big news, I guess. And then we're gonna do what are we doing, guys? It's a mailbag episode. We got like 10 or so questions. We're just gonna run through and just answer. So
is it throwing shade if he does it 30 seconds later?
I mean, you can do it.
I thought you'd like that. But before we get started with what we're doing, please like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check out the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. Hit the like button there. Subscribe to the channel if you already don't. We'd appreciate it. And then while you're doing that, also head on over to fantasysixpack.net/plans and check out our plans, guys. For $10 a month, you get access to the cheat sheet and projections, access to our award-winning rankings, access to our Discord. That's the best part, in my opinion. And just this past weekend, we also launched an all-access for the full season for $40, guys. That's 6 months for $40. So it's pretty much half off it. It's a smoking deal.
I'm pretty sure because I talked to Joe about it. You get the last month for free. I mean, that's a hell of a deal.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect deal. So, and these are these next 2 weekends are the biggest draft weekends there is. So, get them while you can. And if you use promo code F6P early, you get 25% off as well. So even more discounts there, guys.
Dang.
So yeah, the link's scrolling at the bottom of the page. So just go check that out. And then Michael Plant, how about you give a shout out to our sponsor for the episode?
All right. Our sponsor for the episode is American Raz. You can see it scrolling down below if you want to go to the link. I mean, honestly, it's easier just going to Facebook and typing in American Raz than probably using that link. But like it says down at the bottom, all your sports memorabilia needs. I wouldn't say it's a one-stop shop, but, for this area, it's a pretty good sports memorabilia place to get some, local, Badger, Fighting Illini. You got Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bulls. All you can find in this area, you pretty much get there.
Yeah, I tried to win a Deebo Samuel signed mini helmet in there last week for $15. I didn't win, unfortunately, but yeah, you win some, you lose some. But what we do plan on doing this week is doing a raffle for one of our all-access passes, to where if you get a spot in the raffle in that Raz room, you could win the 6-month all-access for $4. And that's, like I said, that's great.
And that's for a full season, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, let's just jump right into the training camp news, guys. The first things first, I don't know if anyone knows who Daz Newsome is besides me, Ike, and LaPlante. Well, me and Ike, because we're Bears fan. But Daz Newsome was waived by the Chicago Bears 6th-round pick from last year. Don't really need to say a whole lot else about that. Next piece of news we got. Go ahead.
Gives more hope for Cole Kmet, more volume.
Oh yeah,
he wasn't.
And I mean, just listen to these receivers that are probably making the team. Then, guys. I mean, obviously you got Darnell Mooney, Equanimous St. Brown, Byron Pringle, and then it's like Tajee Sharp and maybe Dante Pettis. Are those the 5? Maybe that's
N'Keal Harry. Maybe
he's out until November with that high ankle sprain. So it's definitely
maybe they go and sign some of the other receivers that get cut in the future training camp news.
They should have signed T.Y. Hilton.
Nah,
He's a perfect slot receiver. can mentor the young guys.
You could say that about almost every damn receiver in the NFL.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he's the perfect slot. He's 34, 35 years old, but he's the perfect slot.
I saw maybe Marquez Callaway could be a training camp casualty, could be cut since they got so much depth at wide receiver. I know it's not ideal, man, but he's at least shown flashes to where he could be competent at times. You know what I mean?
You are looking for competency.
Yes. But on the plus side, at least Darnell Mooney looks legit from everything we've seen and heard.
Yes. So and he gets up for a little guy.
He's awesome, man. He's absolutely awesome. The next piece of news, we got Dameon Pierce looking like the week 1 lead back for the Houston Texans. Are you buying that, Ike?
Yes, I am, actually. I like
the confidence.
I don't think Marlon Mack is impressing as much as they thought. And Dameon Pierce is just actually really good. I think the Plant was the one that told me yesterday about, I don't know what exactly you said, but his coaches kind of held him back a little bit.
So
he didn't get to show his true talent. So now he gets to in the NFL. I think they're going to give him a full go.
Yeah, the Florida coach staff was a nightmare. LaPlante, anything to add?
That's who it was. I was wrong. I did tell Ike he went to Miami. It was Florida. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, him and the coaches for some reason had beef, and they never wanted to use him. I don't know what it is, but hopefully they use him now, with this news and training camp and finally seeing, he's the most talented guy they have in the backfield.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I don't think he's going to get the receiving stuff. That's going to go to Burkhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
But he's talented enough. He might work his way into it.
Maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next piece of news, Packers trading offensive lineman Cole Van Lanen to the Jaguars for an undisclosed pick. It ended up being a 7th-round pick.
The reason I put this in here, because I'm sure you had no idea why I'm throwing an offensive lineman trade in here, is because, 1, I think this helps Trevor Lawrence, and 2, this helps the running game for your boy Etienne.
Sure.
Yeah, perhaps. But jumping over to the Atlanta Falcons, guys, they released Auden Tate and Geronimo Allison. If the Bears have the worst wide receiving corps in the NFL, Atlanta's the close second.
Oh, I thought you were going to say us get one of those two.
If they're a close second, how can they cut them?
Dude, you stop fading on the zucchini, bro. Olamide Zacchaeus is going to be a beast.
Touchdown last
he's not going to be a beast.
He's not going to be a beast, but
absolute soup laser from Mariota last.
That was a good pass. Probably the best pass he had. I mean, you see the pass he had to Kyle Pitts. If he could have actually thrown it to him in stride,
so bad on a barely tight move.
I know, but if Mariota could hit Pitts in stride, Pitts was easy touchdown. But Pitts had to slow down, and he still caught it like this. Like that's the targets he's going to get this year.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% positive if all the Jets starters on defense were playing last night, but some people are saying the Jets could be sneaky good because of all the weapons on offense. Their defense is still going to be atrocious.
Which is kind of funny.
It's brutal. Salah's a defensive-minded head coach, and their defense.
He just doesn't have the guys for it.
Yeah, no, I know. He's trying to rebuild it on the fly and everything, but it's looking rough when Atlanta's just marching the ball downfield on you like that,
Oh, I know. And it's preseason, and it's Mariota, and they don't even have Drake London in.
Desmond Ritter even did pretty well.
Yes.
Yeah, Desmond Ritter looks good, man. I think he has a future in this league. I just don't know if it's a starter or a backup position.
Mm-hmm.
Mix of both.
Yeah, exactly. Jumping over the Raiders next. Mike, I'm a little weirded out why you put this Josh Jacobs true RB1 role most definitely in jeopardy. Why do you say that?
Because that's the update I got from him. Give me 1 second. I believe it was NBC Sports Edge.
They're going to give it to Zamir White then?
Yep. NBC Sports Edge football reported Jacobs' true RB1 role most definitely in jeopardy.
Oh, I don't.
That might just be third down then.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, that does make sense. I mean, true RB1 is getting the passing down work.
But that's never been him, though, man. I know you said he caught 50, I know you said he caught 53 balls last year, but
63 targets.
They've kind of always had that pass catching back in the offense, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's probably going to be. It's not going to be Kenyon Drake anymore.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that on the Fantasy Six Pack news cycle yesterday. Go check that out on the YouTube channel.
White was that good at receiving backs.
They got the receiving back in the offense is Amir Abdullah, right?
And Brandon Bolden.
Yeah, that's what we talked. Yep, that's what we talked about.
But no, Amir Abdullah is the one that McDaniels is the one that said, "Yep."
So he's the thing again. Huh?
Well, yeah, we saw him last year when he was eating into Chuba's workload when he was the handcuff to McCaffrey, obviously.
Interesting.
All right, but I mean, if you got anything else on that topic?
No, let's just pull up this question here.
Yes, sir.
How much does Michael Carter hurt Breece Hall's value if he does at all? LaPlaya, you want to go ahead and take this, or you want me to?
Yeah, I can start off for you. Right. So originally I was thinking, with the high draft capital, Breece Hall was going to have the full workload. But, I mean, this is still the same coaching staff that drafted Michael Carter in the 4th round last year. Michael Carter has a good set of skills in the pass-catching game. And when you're a team like the Jets, it's never a terrible, thing having too much talent. So I figure they're going to work Michael Carter into some targets there. It's just a matter of, whether they try working him in the slot or if it's out of the backfield. And with the receiving core they have, I see it being more out of the backfield than the slot. And that's going to eat into Breece Hall's, production a little bit. So I don't know if, RB1 is in his future for this year because of the offense is not, it's predicted to be better, but it's not going to be great. And if he doesn't get the full workload, you're not going to be an RB1. But I think he'll be fringe, RB1, high-end RB2.
Yeah, I get it. You got anything to add?
I just think they might do like a series type switch off thing. Like maybe one drive's going to be Breece Hall, one drive might be Michael Carter, something they did in North Carolina with him and Javonte. I think they're both going to get a lot of work. It just might hurt both of their values just a little bit.
In my honest opinion, as the offseason keeps progressing, I think that it's looking more and more like Breece Hall's backfield.
He looks good.
And yes, and he's got the 2nd round draft capital. I'm pretty sure they traded up for him. He has the capabilities of being a 3-down back. I'm not saying he will be in this offense right away, but as the season progresses, I think he's going to definitely end up being the guy. Like towards the end of the season, we could see a 70-30 split, and that's fantastic, nowadays.
It definitely won't be 50-50. It's probably going to be 60-40 for Breece Hall, and then it can work its way up to 70-30, maybe even 80-20 if he's that good.
Speaking of 730 at 80-20, I'm just gonna do this now about David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, man. There's a lot of stuff going on Twitter about how people don't want to draft David Montgomery because of Khalil Herbert. And in all honesty, I just don't see it anymore. I got it earlier this offseason because it made sense with the Luke Getsy coming over from the Packers, and maybe it'd be more of a committee. But everything we've seen from Khalil Herbert in this preseason so far that we wanted to see from him, like to be able to pass block, to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, and to be efficient on the ground, and we just haven't seen it. I know that the offensive line isn't good, but
no, it's not good at all. I think you you overestimated that by saying they're not good. They are terrible. It's atrocious.
It's bad.
I don't know how David Montgomery can even average 3 yards a carry.
That's what I'm saying. But Montgomery has been pretty efficient behind a bad offensive line these past couple of seasons, And you know what he does good? He does pass block really well. He does catch the ball out of the backfield well. So why would the Bears and this coaching staff lean more on Khalil Herbert when Montgomery does all those things better than Herbert? And we've seen it.
Different.
I mean, we just
scheme now. Mike. Different scheme now. He's going to be playing more, I would assume, from shotgun, which I feel like
See, that's not what we've seen from the preseason. Like, we've been seeing them use a lot of 2 tight end sets, and they're even using a fullback, and that helps Montgomery even more because he's that kind of back. Nagy was famous for saying, "I didn't come here to run the I formation." I think we're gonna see a ton of the I formation this year. Like, they got 2 fullbacks on their roster. They'll probably only keep one, but the fullback's definitely going to be in play, kind of like how San Francisco uses their guys. And I just think that
it's just going to clog the line even more for Dave Montgomery.
But that's also going to help the offensive line be able to run block better with 2 tight ends on the field and a fullback.
Cooked though. all 7 of the guys are going to get cooked.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope.
But to be honest with you, Dave Montgomery is a running back who I'm targeting late, guys. And I know I'm ranting a little bit, but I'm just going to keep rolling with it here. I've been doing, and we've talked about this before, I've been doing a lot of drafts, and I've been starting like the first 3 rounds just punting on running back, especially if I'm picking late in drafts. Like, say, wink, wink, if I'm picking 8th in a 10-team or a 12-team league, and Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, or Jamar Chase are on the board at 8, like, I'm taking Cooper Kupp, and then I don't really love any of the running backs coming back to me right there. So I'm just going to stack another receiver on top of Cooper Kupp, like a CeeDee Lamb or something, if he's there. And then on the way back, Michael Pittman, you got 3 stud receivers right there. And then maybe in the 4th round, there's David Montgomery. There's Breece Hall, who we just talked about. There's Josh Jacobs sitting there. You know what I mean? I'm okay with getting one of those guys and then hopefully being able to get a Travis Etienne, an AJ Dillon, who has the ceiling that we've talked about, and pairing those 2 together. And I think you're doing okay if you start out with 3 stud receivers and 2 running backs like that. You agree or no?
The only thing is you're betting a lot on the upside of it would be Etienne or something. And that's hard to do, especially when running back could be, especially this year, is pretty scarce. Not going to lie. I mean, there's like 10 running backs that you feel safe with. I mean, even the other ones.
That's just why I'm out, man.
I know. But you still need at least one of the top 12, I feel like.
That's where we disagree. What if you can't tell me you're not coming away with this? If you're coming away with Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, and T. Higgins with your first 3 picks right there, or
I would love that, but I would be
CeeDee Lamb or Michael Pittman, something like that.
But I feel like I'd much rather have like who would be like a Dalvin Cook and then probably Stephon Diggs instead of Cooper Kupp, because that way you actually have a spot filled on both sides. That way you don't completely punt running back. Because
is that what you consider punting running back? Is what I just said.
Yeah, because Etienne's not going to be a full workhorse. I feel like there's no chance. I just don't see it because Robinson's progressing a little bit better than we thought. Dave Montgomery has a chance to be a workhorse back, but like you said, Khalil Herbert's getting a lot of attention, so you never know. So I feel like for a running back with your first one, you want one that is for sure known role that's going to get his 20 touches or whatever, like a Dalvin Cook.
I think I've let you have the floor for long enough.
You did. Go ahead.
Both of you two. So this is the devil's advocate, take of it here. I get it. I understand the value of the running backs there in the dead zone this year because this is probably honestly the best year for it.
That's it. Out of all that jabber I just did, that was the point that I was trying to get to. So thank you for making my point, Mike. There.
But are they though?
But
yes,
because in the dead zone, it's Elijah
compared
Mitchell.
Compared to past years, this is better. But the reason why I'm also on your side here, Ike, here more than Dylan's, I was just getting his point across, is because I'm looking at the top 36 scorers in PPR last week because that's what we mainly focus on. 13 of those top 36, so pretty much a third, were wide receivers. All right. The depth at wide receiver at which you could possibly find one of those top 12 to 13 guys getting in the top 36 is much better than getting one of the. You got Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, James Conner, and Ezekiel Elliott. 7 running backs there that are in the top 36 that actually scored. So the depth at wide receiver, it's just much more deeper. So you can get lucky and, hit on a Stephon Diggs, hit on a Cooper Kupp in the late rounds and still solidify that running back position because we know the injuries are going to hit it and we need that depth. But go on, Ike.
Like you can get a Chris Godwin. I'd rather go heavy on running back and then like a 0 wide receiver because Chris Godwin could be your number 1 wide receiver and you can still win a lot of fantasy games because he is going to get a lot, as long as he's healthy, by the way, first, but he's going to get a lot of the targets no matter what. And then you can get Elijah Moore or who else is around that range? Rashad Bateman, you can get. All those guys are better than like Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs. I don't want to throw AJ Dillon in there because I actually like him.
Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins. Devontae Smith, kind of that range.
The problem that I have with that, Ike, and I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate as well here, is what happens if you load up on running back early. Just as well as I do, they are the most injury-prone position in fantasy.
I've done it so many years in a row.
If you load up early and say you draft 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds, what if 2 of those guys go down? All of a sudden, your core roster strength is no more because you didn't draft those absolute stud wide receivers. Hold on, let me go, Mike. Sorry. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm looking to attack Cooper Kupp, who could see 160 targets again. I think we could agree on that. CeeDee Lamb, he could see 160 targets. I think we could agree on that because of everything that's gone on there. And if you can turn around and get Michael Pittman in the 3rd round somehow, Matt Ryan, when Julio and Calvin Ridley were the guys, they were seeing 140, 150, 160 targets. And Frank Reich has said the Colts don't want Jonathan Taylor leading the league in carries this year. And I feel like they're going to trust Matt Ryan more. So they're going to throw more, and sky's the limit for Michael Pittman this year as well. That's where
more than likely your 3rd wide receiver won't be Pittman. He'll probably go a little bit after. I'm thinking more your 3rd wide receiver would be like
Pittman's going out as wide receiver 37, so the beginning of the 4th round.
You mean overall 37?
Yeah, sorry.
Wide receiver.
So overall
12,
37.
13.
The back of the 4th round, you're looking at your wide receiver 3 being Jalen Waddle, Terry McLaurin, but DJ Moore, that's still great. DK Metcalf, yeah, sure. I know DK's got his warts, but as your wide receiver 3, and there's going to be weeks where he gets his touchdowns and gets his big plays. He could be really useful there as well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just going to keep it sweet and simple so we can get to our question here because we've already ranted on it long enough. We can play the what-if game all day about injuries. We could play it with your wide receivers that, you just talked 3 minutes about. I mean, what's stopping Michael Pittman from rolling an ankle, God forbid, going in and out of a route? We could play that game all day. But the thing is the name of the game when it comes to fantasy football, and you can agree with this, we're looking for consistency. All right? And Cooper Kupp put a skewed image of consistency in our brains off of last year. He was super uber consistent, the most consistent we've seen since Jerry Rice. All right. It's not going to happen again. So stop chasing that, consistency from a wide receiver. It is one of the most inconsistent positions in fantasy football. Mm-hmm. That is why you can get one so late. That's the only reason I disagree with it, because running backs are at least more consistent. You're guaranteed touches. Those wide receivers, man, you get locked up by Jalen Ramsey, you're not guaranteed those targets anymore.
Fair enough.
I don't know, man. That's why I'm hunting the volume with those receivers. Like
I get that.
The targets,
But let's hop into our question here because we've already waited long enough. All right. Sorry about this, Homer. We had to go on our rant. This is our rant episode. But he just wants to say hi, guys. Everyone say hi. He just got offered Kelsey, A.J. Brown, and Kareem Hunt for Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, and Chris Godwin. What do you guys think? It's a half PPR redraft. I'm glad he said redraft. Dylan, you want to take the reins on this one first, or Ike, do you want to?
I'm wondering if you trade away. So you'd be trading away Kamara, Zeke, and Godwin, right?
For Kelsey, AJ Brown, Hunt. Yeah.
I believe he has Kamara, Zeke, and Godwin. He'd be trading it away for Kelsey, AJ Brown, and Kareem Hunt. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Homer, I'm curious to see what the rest of your running backs look like on your roster if you're able to trade away Kamara and Zeke. That's what scares me. I might be talking in both sides of my mouth here after I just went on the wide receiver running back rant there. But I don't know if I would be willing to trade both of those running backs. I'm not huge tight end builds, with Kelsey there. And I'm not a huge fan of AJ Brown. So I think I would stay pat with that one.
I mean, you get the best player in the trade. I'm looking here, and probably your best player in that trade is Travis Kelsey. You get the positional advantage. You're getting the top tier tight end. But you're getting I think a slight upgrade. Ike would disagree with me with AJ Brown compared to Chris Godwin. Just because of the injury. That's the only thing that scares me with Chris Godwin. AJ Brown's healthy. He's still an animal. He was all right with Ryan Tannehill, and we saw him in the playoffs. He's not that great of a quarterback. So Jalen Hurts can, I think, get it done. But you are taking a downgrade on RBs, which is by far my favorite position in fantasy football because it helps you win championships. It's a great foundation.
Unless he's got a lot of good ones. He's got just Saquon.
I was going to say, he's got Saquon after this, so he'd be getting Saquon and Kareem Hunt, and man, that's scary. I like Saquon this year as my RB1, but having Kareem Hunt as my RB2.
I like the Kamara, Zeke, Barkley more. Barkley in your flex or whatever, I like that.
I do. I think if anything, Ike's again going to disagree with me. Try and trade away Chris Godwin. Maybe package him with either Zeke or a Kamara, but not, don't get rid of Kamara and Zeke.
Not both.
We're going to get Kamara with no suspension, so we're getting, full exposure to him this year. Zeke's coming off a injury year where he's healthy now. He's, constantly been saying it. I think the volume's there for him. I say stay put and try to, counter with a Godwin or, a Zeke trade or Godwin or a Kamara trade. And honestly, I'd be targeting Kelsey, if anything. Get that positional advantage. Ike, any comments?
I agree. Like I said, go Kamara, Zeke, and Barkley. I like that more than just having Barkley and Hunt.
I know, because you want him to keep Godwin.
And Saquon is just such a sketchy RB1 because, unfortunately, we know he can't stay healthy.
Dude, him at flex, though? That's some crazy
Can you
shit.
really say, though, that we know he can't stay healthy? I mean, he's got pretty unlucky the past couple of years.
I agree.
He got his ankle on his
I've
teammate.
said that numerous times. Yeah, that's true, but it's just it's scary there, with him.
The situation is scary. The talent is there. I think the health is there this year, but the situation is the scariest part.
The volume should be there too. He's really the only guy there.
Well, I heard. I can't remember where I heard this from, unfortunately, but I heard Brian Daboll has been. No, it was Danny Heifetz from The Ringer. He was saying that Brian Daboll has been trying to teach Saquon Barkley to be more of a north-south runner and stop dancing around and try to make the big play. And if he could do that.
Dude, he's big enough to do that. He's a big guy.
I know. We'd get everything we want in Saquon if he could just average 4.5 yards.
Not dancing back there. You're not going to do anything.
But what if he doesn't dance and he doesn't hit those big plays, guys?
I mean, he's eventually, just by attrition, going to hit those big plays. You look at Derrick Henry late in games.
Derrick Henry is just, nobody wants to tackle him.
He's an animal, but I mean, look at Saquon. Saquon's a pretty physical specimen himself. Do you want to get in front of him?
I would rather get in front of him over Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry would send me to the nether realm.
He could do that with just a stiff arm.
Stand on the tracks when the trades come in.
My head would pop straight off from the stiff arm.
I think you'd have a permanent imprint, palm on your hand, on your face.
Yep. Just to jump into the next piece of news after, wow, that was a wild conversation there for a minute. Yeah. Kyle Shanahan told reporters that running back Elijah Mitchell is on track to return week 1 versus the Bears. Elijah Mitchell is not someone who we've talked a whole lot about this podcast. So, I'm going to go ahead and kick it to you. How do you feel about him heading into the season? He is currently going as the overall...
Give me a second. I got him.
Running back 21 and overall player 48. So the top of the 5th round.
I don't want anything to do with him.
I'm getting him.
I legit haven't drafted him anywhere. I just think they got so many running backs that they want to try out that I just don't think he's going to get enough work. And he never really got the PPR work, did he?
They don't really tend to throw the ball to their running backs in general, unless you're Kyle Juszczyk.
So there's like 4 or 5 guys there that can still produce, and Elijah Mitchell currently is dealing with injuries, which you never know. So yeah, I'm fade him. That's what I'd be going with.
I honestly think the 49ers backfield they're just going to roll with the hot hand. I think it's Elijah Mitchell's job to lose, but there's a decent chance at some point he's going to lose it because of like what you just said, all the running backs behind him. And as soon as he gets dinged up, next man up, they TDP, Terry Davis Price, Trey Sermon, Jeff Wilson Jr.
Oh, don't mention Trey Sermon.
You never know, man.
Why? No, don't say that, Mike.
He's good in college.
And they've talked a little bit about him this spring, this training camp and stuff. So never say never.
I'm not saying never. I'm just saying don't tell me about Trey Sermon.
Not
till it happens.
Especially this offense, man. Nobody knew who Elijah Mitchell was last year until all of a sudden he was the week 1 starter for the.
I got another point to say too. Trey Lance is going to take away some carries as well from. I totally forgot about that.
Not only carries, but red zone carries. The most important carries of them all.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, that's the thing with the Niners. When it comes to, I'm more worried about the injuries because somehow this team has managed to be one of the most injured teams in the recent years of the NFL. I don't know how it's possible, knock on wood, that, they can fix it. But I mean, like you made that point, Dylan. One man gets dinged up, it's the next man up, and we've seen it before in Jeff Wilson Jr. We've seen it before in Hasty. Who was the other one? I don't want to say Trey Sermon's name.
Trey Sermon didn't do anything, but he can.
Exactly. But that's the thing. We haven't seen it for Trey Sermon yet. I want somebody who's actually done it before. That's all.
Yeah.
I hope he becomes a thing.
The 49ers backfield's always sketchy, and it's going to continue to be sketchy.
That's why you always get the cheapest one in drafts.
Yep. Yeah. They're just riding the hot hand, and so should you for your fantasy teams if you're starting one. The last piece of news we got, Ravens placed Gus Edwards on the PUP, forcing him to miss at least the first 4 games of the season. Good news for J.K. Dobbins owners. I mean, that means his only backup now is pretty much Mike Davis, and we saw what he had in Atlanta last year. So it's not great. So in my opinion, wheels up for J.K. Dobbins.
It is better offense, better offensive line. The one thing I will state about Davis, he might get more vulturing opportunities, if anything.
I don't know. Dobbins was good in the red zone.
He is. So I'm just saying, if Dobbins, the way I see them running this offense this year, because last year was an anomaly. They're not passing nearly as much as they did last year. They plan on running it at least be more balanced. Probably tilt more the run heavy side. But if J.K. Dobbins, has like 5-6 carries to get him down to the red zone, he might get vultured by Mike Davis.
Fair. Or even Lamar, whatever.
Even Lamar, great point.
It's probably going to be Lamar, I think, because Lamar had a decent amount of touchdowns his first couple of years, and then last year it just plummeted. So regression in a good way, I feel like, is coming back to Lamar with touchdowns with his legs.
Absolutely. No, he just runs the ball way too much to get. Oh, man, where is he? I'm gonna have to control find him. He just runs the ball too much to not get those touchdowns. I mean, over 60 plus rushing attempts in every single year he's been in the league, even when he's been injured. It's just stupid value.
Yeah, we should probably touch on Dobbins not getting any work in the passing game either because of the legs of Lamar too. His big thing is just his efficiency. That it was there before the ACL injury, and hopefully it's there when it comes back this year.
I mean, JK saw a little bit of pass production though, so if he has enough of the volume that we predict him to have, and he gets a little bit of the passing work, man, that's just icing on the cake.
For sure. Just go ahead, jump right into our mailbag questions now.
One question
for us.
Yeah, our one of our favorite fans has a guess, guys. We got to answer it for him. Oh man, I'm guessing this is QB1. Lawrence, Tua, or Fields for his draft. I'm assuming he's leading Tua. Fields. All right. Oof, man.
I don't hate Fields because of the rushing floor, but I think I would personally lean Tua here, though, just because of the weapons, and I've been kind of on the Tua train last year and this year. He's very accurate. He's just going to get the ball in the hands of the receivers behind the line of scrimmage, and they're just going to go Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I think he's going to have a solid season. But if you want to go Fields and chase that upside because of that rushing floor, I totally get that too.
Man, I think if you really want to reach for the stars, you go Tua hoping for that breakout year.
I thought you were going to say Lawrence for a second.
I think
freak out.
Hear me out. I'll get to him after. Tua is your ceiling. Reach for the stars. If he hits, he's winning you the league. Sure. Because he's got the weapons. All he's got to do is dump it off 5-10 yards to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. All right, now it's a matter if he can do this. That's the big question. Tua was supposed to be the Trevor Lawrence before Lawrence came out. Like, he was supposed to be the next big thing until his hip flexor injury. So I mean, exactly. So I think it is still a possibility for Tua to do that. So if you really want to reach for those stars, go Tua. Your safest pick in this situation, and I know you're not going to agree with me, is Trevor Lawrence over Fields. I know you say Fields is safe because of the high rushing floor, but hear me out. Lawrence had 73 rushing attempts last year on a shitty offense. I can only imagine it's probably going to be around the same on a better offense where he's going to score probably more than 12 touchdowns. That's just through the air. He had 2 on the ground. So I think your safer bet is Lawrence with better weapons. It's like if we want to go the AT&T bars in this situation, I think Fields, and I'm talking about weapons here. Fields' weapons, Lawrence's weapons, Tua's weapons. So the weapons help you, man. And look at Joe Burrow. He's a pocket passer. He helped finish as top 10 QB because of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yep. I agree. Ike, what? I know you kind of touched on it already, but what are you thinking?
I go Tua, then probably Fields, and then Lawrence.
I knew you wouldn't agree.
I don't know.
That's my order as well.
I don't know why everyone loves Lawrence all of a sudden. I mean,
dude, was Peyton Manning coming out of the draft?
You know how much. Granted, he had Urban Meyer coaching him last year, whatever. He was so bad last year. He was just as bad as Justin Fields, and all he got more was Christian Kirk.
Urban Meyer was
it's not like Christian Kirk's godsend. I know. I said he had. I know. That's why I said he had Urban Meyer. Whatever. It is what it is. It's not like this dude's going to be a godsend.
It is what it is. That's probably the worst coaching hire ever in the NFL history. Can you name a worse one?
But Fields had Matt Nagy.
Trestman probably.
Matt, yeah.
Even Trestman lasted longer.
But he was bad. He just didn't treat his players bad.
And he wasn't an asshole.
Exactly.
And he at least knew how to run an offense. Your defense was shit, but he at least knew how to run an offense.
Just because they got what Doug Peterson doesn't mean it's going to make Trevor Lawrence.
Super Bowl winning coach?
That doesn't mean he's going to make Trevor Lawrence better. Maybe Trevor Lawrence just got too hyped, and he played on a really good team with really good weapons.
He played. He made Big Dick Nick better.
The hell did you just say?
And hey, Big Dick
he
Nick,
had to play one good game.
No, he didn't. He made the entire playoff run because Carson Wentz got injured. And also, good point here. Dean said he made Carson Wentz an MVP candidate.
Carson Wentz was the top 3 pick first, wasn't he?
No, before he got injured, he was number 1.
He was a first pick, Michael Plant. Of course, people are going to think he's good.
No,
of course he's going to have a chance at MVP.
No, that's not. No, you're not just at a chance at MVP just because you're a top pick. What?
If you're doing good, yeah. And why is it Doug Peterson the one that made him that good?
All right, I'm searching right now because you anger me. Carson Wentz. That year he was doing really good. He finished with.
I know. What are you saying?
He played 13 games and had 33 touchdowns with 7 picks, and that was with Doug Peterson. He's been with Frank Reich, who's considered a good
after
coach.
A torn ACL that pretty much ruined his mobility, which he needed, and so it fucked up his career.
It ruined his mobility, but since that torn ACL, he's had. When was the torn ACL? I believe it was 18-19. He's had 62.
The year you were literally just talking about.
Oh yeah, touche. The year he came back from it, he had 34 rushing attempts, a career
low. That's not that good.
After that, it's been 62, 52, and 57. So his ACL's fine. You can't use that as an excuse anymore.
I'm his mobility. Is he getting the amount of yards and touchdowns as he did before?
We're kind of getting off the tracks, guys. We were talking about Trevor Lawrence. Actually, now we're talking about Wentz. But
I was just saying that Doug Peterson made Carson Wentz look good. To Dean's point.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you, but you also got to remember that you're not taking into effect how shitty of a situation Justin Fields was with the way Matt Nagy ran that offense last year. I'm not saying Matt Nagy can't. I'm not saying Matt Nagy can't run an offense. He can run an offense. He just can't run an offense tailored to anything but the system that he knows, if totally that makes sense. Because Fields was set up for shit, man. When you're facing Cleveland and the Bears' offensive line is as bad as we talked about, and they're just letting Myles Garrett go one-on-one with a tackle, Justin Fields is just getting sacked 8 times. Just dog shit coaching, in his first start.
I get that.
They're kind of one of the same, to be honest with you. I agree that both of them are going to get better.
Fields is in a better situation than last year? That much better?
He is he's in a better situation than he was last year, just because of the
his receivers got worse. His O-line got worse.
His O-line
defense got worse.
We're talking about coaching too.
Coaching
That's the only thing that got better. That's the only thing.
You don't think that matters? You were just blabbing on and on about how Doug Peterson made Carson Wentz, man. I get it.
It does matter. But he also has better weapons. I think that Jacksonville has a better O-line. And I think there's a chance. Great. It's better than the Bears. That's the point. He's in a better situation.
Yeah. Who has the better offensive play? Who's better? Darnell Mooney or a Jaguars offensive player?
Probably Christian Kirk is who you would compare it to.
He's not better than Darnell Mooney.
You're right. Understandable. All right. Name the next Bears receiver.
Byron Pringle, Equinemius.
Is he better than Cole Marvin Komet. Jones? No. Is he better than Zay Jones?
No.
All right.
No, but I'd rather have Cole Komet than Marvin Jones.
But we're talking about receivers. You can't change the subject on me like
that.
No, we're talking about weapons. Yes, exactly.
I know, but at that moment, you said Darnell Mooney, the number 1 receiver for the Bears. We were talking about wide receivers, and then you changed the subject to tight ends. So I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just stay on topic with me. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I do like the Jaguars' weapons, but to an extent. They kind of got a hodgepodge.
Dean, don't be sorry.
they kind of got a hodgepodge of shit going on there too. Like Evan Ingram, he's not good. Zay Jones, he's not good either. Like
you're forgetting about Dan Arnold. You were on his ass all year last year.
That's because of the volume Dan Arnold was getting, man. But yeah, I think we should probably move on. What do you guys think?
That's fair. We should.
Let's just rapid fire these mailbag questions, guys.
There's a couple ones we could probably go into more detail with, but yeah, go ahead.
was offered Breece Hall and either Brian Robinson or Tyler Algier for Travis Etienne, James Robinson, and a 3rd-round pick. Keeper league, thinking about taking it. What do you think?
I'd rather have Breece Hall and Brian Robinson. I'm not a big fan of having the same running backs on the same team.
I love Etienne. You guys know how much I love Etienne, but I actually said the same thing. And LaPlante, I'm going to throw this to you. I'm probably going to catch you off guard here. But since we didn't talk about it at the top of the show, let's talk about the Brian Robinson hype. Are you buying in now that he's kind of looking like he could be the lead back in the offense?
I mean, I'm not buying in that he's going to be the lead back in this offense, but you do got to take it into account with this training camp news. I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but him getting first-team reps and Antonio Gibson, being resorted to special teams is a sign. How super big weird. Of a sign? It is super weird, but how big of a sign is it? Is that's what we got to figure out. And I think everybody's kind of overreacting a little bit too much. I mean, I do like Brian Robinson as a talent, but again, we're still on projected to be a terrible offense. So probably, I mean, these red zone attempts that he's going to be taking over Antonio Gibson, there's probably not going to be very many of them as it is. But I still like this trade because I agree with you 100%. I don't like having 2 running backs on the same team. And if it's a keeper league and if Breece Hall hits, man, you got a keeper for years.
Indeed.
Yeah, for sure. Breece Hall, we could be looking at Breece Hall next year as a 1st-round pick. In fantasy
it's possible
football, if he bangs, and the Jets aren't the Jets aren't a total shit show on offense.
I mean, James Robinson was an RB1 when the Jags were a total shit show before they had Trevor Lawrence. So
David Montgomery was an RB1 when
they got receiving
was a total
work,
shit show 2 years ago.
It's about volume.
I don't know if Breece Hall will get. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if he will.
That's the thing. If he bangs, according to Dylan.
Bang.
Bang. Next question we got. He has the 4th pick in a 14-team snake draft on Thursday. 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, 1 tight end, and 5 bench spots. Go back-to-back receiver, or should I try to get RBs early? If Jefferson is there at 4, I kind of have to take it. Haha. I agree with you. If Jefferson's at 4, I agree that you take it. I kind of went on that rant at the beginning of the podcast about what I would do, especially with getting Justin Jefferson at 104. I did it 2 weeks ago when we did that draft when I went Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, and Kyle Pitts that way. But what would be your guys' game plan here with that roster construction?
I mean, I know it's very vanilla, but I always got to start it off with it is, whoever falls to you at that 4 spot. I mean, you could have somebody that really likes Jefferson or not Jefferson, but, let's say somebody like an Eckler. Maybe he sneaks his way into the top 4 and you got somebody like CMC falling to you.
Well, plan. What if it goes Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry? Are you taking Eckler over Justin Jefferson or are you going Justin Jefferson there?
My only thing here, and I wish he really would have put this, is it PPR or is it half PPR?
Because let's go PPR here, man. That's what fine. We do on this show. Let's go there.
That's fine with me. Now, if it was 3 wide receivers, I'm all gung-ho for Justin Jefferson.
Exactly.
But this is 2 wide receivers and 2 flexes.
If we're going PPR and the 2 flexes, it's pretty much 3 wide receivers, in my opinion. But please go on.
That is your opinion, and it's a fair opinion. I'll give you that. But when it comes to a flex, it's called a flex for a reason. You can play any position in there other than a quarterback if you need to in a pinch. I mean, because that's what it's there for. When it comes to those wide receiver spots, you need to put a wide receiver there, and you're probably wanting to put a top-tier guy there. All right? Now, with 2, we talked about this earlier, you can find somebody like a Cooper Kupp in the 5th round, a Stephon Diggs in the 6th round, where it happens every year, guys. There's always a wide receiver that sneaks into that top 12. We saw it with Mike Williams last year. I mean, I know he just snuck in there, but it is possible. So I still look at it if you have 3 RBs going in front of you, there is a tier drop there. Go Justin Jefferson, and you're hoping, an RB falls to you there. But with 14 teams, man, I'm concerned about that running back depth and that scarcity, and I would really like to get an Eckler in that top tier if you are like me.
Ike, what do you think? 14 teams, you going with the running back and Eckler there, or you going to go Justin Jefferson?
I'm going running backs. Especially at 14 teams, you can get a receiver later.
Bingo. It's the 14 team. If it was 10, oh man, go that receiver. You're gonna have tons of running backs in the back end.
Even with the two running backs, 2 wide receivers, they're
exactly. But 14, man,
it's easier to fill up.
There's gonna be a lot of good players taken before you get that second.
It's gonna go running back heavy. I know it will.
It's just usually how it goes. Now, unless your league is a little bit different, maybe they favor wide receivers, and you know it. That's the first number one rule of a draft: know your league.
Yeah,
for sure. Guys, if you want to check out an awesome draft strategy podcast, check out the Fantasy 6-Pack Hour from last week, which Michael Plant produces, and they did it with Kate Majuk from Ball Blast. It was a very, very, very good episode. Go on and check that out. The next mailbag question is standard league question, guys. 12-man redraft. Pick number 4, Najee Harris or Dalvin Cook, assuming JT, DH, and Christian McCaffrey are gone. DH is Derrick Henry, obviously.
This one's
so
tough.
Not Najee Harris or Dalvin Cook in a standard league. Who has the higher touchdown upside, guys?
It's not necessarily touchdown upside too. It's yards. I mean, they're getting points for the yards, but you're chasing touchdowns in a standard league. Mm-hmm. You are right. So you're looking for volume. Both these guys have volume in Najee Harris and Dalvin Cook. Now, I'd probably edge the volume just a little bit for Najee, just because he doesn't have someone like Alexander Madison knocking at the back door. But there is a lot of, favorite word in fantasy football, there's a lot of touchdown regression positively for Dalvin Cook this year. We get a better offense, which means we expect them to move the ball a lot more. The pace of play is going to be a lot higher. So a lot more scoring opportunities for Dalvin Cook. And if you're a standard league, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it's Dalvin Cook as well. Like you were talking about yards, obviously. Dalvin Cook's going to – Najee Harris we saw last year is not the most efficient running back.
And it's not his fault.
No, it's the terrible offensive line. And the offensive line is still not good in Pittsburgh. So nope. I lean Dalvin Cook as well. I keep giving it a clean sweep here.
I would want to because I would hope one of you guys would do Najee. But I'll go with Najee. He had a really good year last year. Granted, he had Big Ben with him or whatever. But as long as they could get down into the red zone, it's going to go to Najee Harris because you're not going to trust Mitch Trubisky necessarily throwing in the red zone. Dylan, me and you have watched him for years. He's not good in the red zone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So going to Najee short or running it, I mean, we could see 10-plus touchdowns for sure. And I know. I like it more.
My only concern here is, and I'll keep it short, part of my concern with Najee's volume was it attributed to Ben's terrible passing ability?
Maybe.
Downfield passing ability? Is that part
Luckily,
of the reason
they got
so much volume? Yeah, I mean, it's an upgrade. Not much of an upgrade, but it's an upgrade nonetheless. And 2, we seen this a couple years ago with Claypool. With Matt Canada's offense, they like to run the play-action sweeps and all these fun little, motion effects close to the goal line. So I wouldn't necessarily pencil in Najee Harris for all those touchdowns because that year that Claypool got, 10 touchdowns, they weren't all deep touchdowns. They were a lot of those play-action sweeps too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then we got a live question here from our pal Brandon. What up, bro?
Hey, Brandon.
Hey.
Are any of us in on Bills running backs this year? Ike,
oh, yeah.
I'm going to kick it to you. Give us your Devin Singletary spiel, man.
I like Devin Singletary and James Cook, actually. James Cook more for like a depth, and if he turns out, you can put him in your flex, which could very well happen. He definitely has, especially in PPR, he has that value. And we all saw, I mean, most of us saw what Devin Singletary did at the end of the year last year.
Absolutely awesome.
Granted, it was 4 or 5 games or whatever. But even if he does half of that, he'll smash where he's going right now as running back 28, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
No, I actually got him on Sleeper as running back 33, which is kind of atrocious.
Yeah, Jesus.
29 ADP for the consensus of all of them put together on Fantasy Pros. But yeah, you're still getting a solid deal on it. He's a top 12 back the last 4 games last year. And you're getting him at running back 29. That goes back, man. Waiting on running back. If you can, that's what
he's one guy you could target.
David Montgomery, AJ Dillon, Devin Singletary, those 3, and you're pairing them with 3 stud receivers. It's not awful, guys. That's what I'm thinking on.
Everyone's high on Rashad Penny because last year he won people
another
leagues,
guy.
With the league, the last 4 games he had to finish out the season. These are Devin Singletary's last 4 games. 15.6. Oh man, that's not even. Yeah, that's standard. Well, let's get PPR in there. 16.6 PPR against Carolina, 18.8 against New England, 23 versus Atlanta, and 25.2 versus the Jets. I know those are prime matchups, man, but you're in a great offense, and if he can get a tear like that going,
that again, but at least close to that, he'll be fine.
Only 2 of those games he reached 20 rushing attempts.
How about touches? Though?
Touches he reached 20. All right, but that's what you're.
That probably will be his max
in that running back. That's what you're looking for, though. In the
it'll be hard to do 29.
Though. Pick 29 for RB. Getting somebody who has 20 plus touches in a good offense. I love Singletary like you do.
Don't be scared of him.
He's great value.
If you don't have a piece of that Bills offense, that's someone to take a stab at late just to get a piece of that offense because it's got to be a top 5 offense in the league.
I'm scared, man. They like using Zach Moss to vulture those touchdowns. That's my one bugaboo.
That's one thing, yeah.
But that's my only thing.
Couple more questions here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Excuse me.
Wrap it up.
Where do you feel comfortable drafting CMC, Ike?
I'm gonna be the one guy that says this, but I don't feel comfortable drafting him. So I'll take the risk and let somebody else go with it. It could bite me in the ass, but hey,
what if you have the 102 and Jonathan Taylor gets picked? Who are you going then?
PPR, right?
Yes.
That's our show. Name of the game.
This is the problem, man. Because you could very well give me the case that Christian McCaffrey still should be the number 1 pick in fantasy football. The problem is he's so goddamn sketchy. Yes.
Do you want to get burned? Which you can get burned by any running back in any player in this situation. So I don't want the headache. I'm sorry, I don't want it.
But if he hits, man, if
he'll beat me. He'll beat my ass.
Games, yeah, he's gonna spank that ass.
Anytime, Brandon.
Sure.
It's a tough call.
Honestly, safe is 101, 102. You can take him there. So if you really feel like he can play a full season, go for it.
Matthew Berry says all the time, you can't win your league in the first round. You can lose your league, definitely, though. This is the one player I think that breaks that motto.
I think he can win you the league with Christian McCaffrey.
You can lose by drafting him, but you can win by drafting him. So it's weird. It's weird.
So I think he's absolutely, I think you're going to get weird looks for it, but I'm comfortable taking him at the 101. It's depending on how ballsy you feel. If you're the type that, you like to load up on RBs late in the draft, go for it, man. You're going to get somebody that's going to win you weeks when he's healthy. This is a guy that averages 23.2 points a game PPR when he's healthy in a game. By far, one of the best.
Which is unfortunately only like 10 of his past 34 games. So
no, that's career total.
I meant like his health lately has been 10 of 30. So
agreed. But man, when he's on the field, he's nuclear. So
yes, he is.
It's totally rational to take him at the 101. It's just you better have a solid draft strategy to get some guys in the later rounds to at least make you feel a little bit safer.
AJ Dillon, Devin Singletary, Rashad Penny. Guys
maybe go a C-Mac and then just load 3 straight receivers and then go that RB2 maybe.
Mm-hmm. And yes, hammer that RB2. Next question here. This is from our buddy Pete. Shout out, Pete. What's up, man? How do you feel about the rookie running backs / wide receivers? Do you see any stepping into an immediate role, which players will have, and which players you have to wait to start? And do you think their ADP is too high, too low, or where it should be? I'll just go ahead and start. I think it's Breece Hall and Drake London. I think you could start Drake London in your flex from day one, and Breece Hall, where he's going as RB23-ish, you could start him as your RB2 and just kind of roll right into it. And that's what I'm thinking. You guys got anything else?
Man, I just want to monitor Drake London's injury a little bit. Everything seems to be pointing up for him, but I am just a little curious redraft purposes. But I mean, I'm not going to go chalky like you. I love Dameon Pierce, man. You want to talk about a guy that's going into an immediate role? It's Dameon Pierce. Yeah, the offense is shit. But you're getting one of those RBs we were talking about we can get late in the draft that can cover CMC's ass if we need to. I'm not going to go chalky on you. Keep an eye out for Romeo Doubs.
Dobbs,
Dubs. I don't care, man. Packers in 6. I don't care, man. This guy's good.
Packers in 6. What's that even mean?
It's a Dubs Dubs thing.
It's that meme.
Yeah.
With the Jay Cutler meme with the cigarette hanging on.
Yeah. But no, I love his talent. He has shocked me coming out of training camp with the dudes. I turned a blind eye to it, try to not be biased. But, man, when I watch him on the field, I mean, Gary can agree with me on this, man. It's hard to pass up the eye test on this guy. This guy looks good as a late-round draft, dart. They got to throw the ball in Green Bay, and it could be Romeo Doubs.
You want to call me chalky? Let me throw this one at you now. What do you think about Wan'Dale Robinson as a late-round flyer? That's so a little twitchy, better. Man. He's so twitchy. Perfect slot receiver.
It's going to be the slot receiver, yep.
Mm-hmm. Get the ball in his hands and just let him go. That's a name right there for you guys. But that's real deep. That's real deep. He could. There is a scenario. There is a realm of possibilities. Very long shot here, guys. Wan'Dale Robinson could lead that team in targets.
I don't know about that, but he can surpass Kenny Galladay. I think that'll be easy.
He might.
But Kadarius Toney might be the guy.
Yeah, like I was in on Galladay where he was going earlier this offseason, but he looks washed. I'm done with him. The guy that I want in this offense, if I'm not getting,
did you see his fade?
Wan'Dale Robinson.
Kenny Galladay's fade route. Beautiful.
He just looks
kind of did like a little jab move, not even. It was just there goes the ball.
That's fantastic.
Gary, I'm confused a little bit. What do you mean by where is Tom? We hadn't been talking about Tom.
No, he's talking about he's at the Masked Singer. Where is he at? He's actually he's actually back at practice, Gare.
Yes, he is back at practice now.
He probably went on vacation or something.
Maybe the Masked Singer. My theory is maybe he was doing something for Fox as the broadcaster. Maybe doing like an internship.
His kid's birthday was not too long ago.
His kid's birthday. There's a whole bunch of shit. It's totally weird. It's totally weird. But if anyone could get it. Yeah, if anyone could get away with it, it's Tom Brady, but it's totally weird.
It is totally weird. Now, you know what's weird here, guys, and I give total credit to Brandon here because I kind of overlooked this one. I mean, granted.
That's who I was going to say.
Oh, was it who you were going to say? Yeah. All right, I'll let you go ahead.
No, it's
go for it, Ike.
No, spew it.
This is the guy I think this is the guy you want. He's definitely going to be going late in drafts, which I think is a little too low. But I think he's going to easily take over Chase Claypool. I think Chase Claypool is a dork.
He's a total knucklehead, total dork.
And you think slow down, but George Pickens looks incredible, man. He knows where to spot his feet already in the back of the end zone. He knows his routes. He's powerful. He kind of reminds me of a smaller DK a little bit. He can run block.
He's way smaller than DK, dude. DK's a monster.
The thing
DK's only 6. I mean, George Pickens 6'4".
AJ Green.
That's
AJ
Green's kind of a.
That's who he reminds me of.
He's
because AJ Green coming out of college. No, AJ Green coming out of college was an animal. That man didn't take shit. You don't remember?
Yeah, but he got tossed around by Cortland Finnegan.
No, that was. I don't think that was him. I think you're thinking of the Andre Johnson fight with Cortland Finnegan.
That's the first thing that came to mind with that.
Yeah, that Cortland Finnegan. He would always get in fights with Ike Taylor, man. He didn't take shit from nobody. So it kind of reminds me of a young AJ Green.
Can I stick
I like
up
Pickens
for
a lot, though.
Can I stick up for
Brandon
Claypool
agrees.
You can't.
for what?
No.
For 1 second? No.
No.
I'm going to anyways. I don't have the stat pulled, but it was something like Claypool, the 24 snaps that Claypool played in the preseason.
Oh, it was the slot.
He lined up in the slot.
14 of 16.
Good luck guarding Chase Claypool in the slot. That big motherfucker, man, lining up against that big.
But he's got no inside ability. It's just gonna be all right. Go deep out down the middle.
I get it, man. But I want to like all these receivers, but it's goddamn Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett throwing him the football. So which is the odd man out? And
give Kenny some credit. He looked good in preseason.
He does
preseason.
But I will say the odd man out, if I had to guess that it looks like right now, it's probably Claypool, but there's still a smidget of hope for him because he's playing in the slot, in my opinion.
Sure.
Man, my concern is George Pickens' attitude. I've seen a play where he got blocked and he got taken down to the ground. And when he got taken down to the ground, he kicked the defender off of him. Dude's going to get flagged for that in regular season games. So that's my one concern.
Like I said, man, he's like DK.
Yeah, but DK didn't get flagged for that kind of stuff. All right, on to the next question here, though, because I think we hit a decent amount right there of rookies that can make an immediate impact.
Yeah, for sure. I think we should just finish out on this question, LaPlante, because we already kind of talked about Jefferson, Kupp, and Chase. Let's just go. How big of a carry share will Javonte Williams get in Denver this season? I'll start. I think it's going to be a 70-30 split. I really do. I'm kind of in on Javonte Williams where he's going in drafts. It was a little too early previously in the offseason, but he's going as RB11, which is borderline running back 1. But we saw the talent's there, guys. And the only thing holding it back is old man Melvin Gordon. But
it's not that quarterback position anymore.
Old.
He is 30, isn't he, Ike?
29, I think.
29.
That's that age barrier, though, guys. He's hitting it.
Yeah, but he also hasn't had the full workload of an RB that's, like a Zeke, gone to age 29. Melvin Gordon's always been kind of like the secondary back in an offense. I mean, he was the main back with Austin Eckler.
Been committing most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's bingo, committee. So he doesn't have the full, if I looked it up, I bet Melvin Gordon probably has as many carries in his career as Derrick Henry. And Melvin Gordon, I believe, has been in the league longer than Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry has
at least starting
way too many times.
But that's the whole thing is like Melvin Gordon hasn't had that much volume. That's why he's still able to do it.
Do you think it's going to be a 50-50 split like last year, or do you think it's going to be more in favor of Javonte? Because we saw how flipping good that guy is, man. 60-40. And Melvin Gordon kind of even came out and said that the plan is for Javonte to be the guy, man. So that's where I'm leaning. I like him.
I mean, as much as I, love what the coaching staff is saying, let's be honest here. Who's running this offense? It's Russell Wilson, guys. It's who he likes. That's who he's going to want in. Who's pass pro protecting the best? Who's, getting to the spot when they need to get to the spot? Who is doing what Russell Wilson wants? Because as we see, like Tom Brady, he wants the guy that knows what he's doing in there. If Javonte struggles with that, man, I could see Melvin Gordon making that way into that 50-50 role again. But if Javonte can take that leap into being a better pass protector, which I'm guessing was the reason why they kept Melvin Gordon around, was just as that insurance policy for it. If he can get better at that, I think he gets that 60-65% workload.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will say this, though, guys, and everybody is just so high on Javonte this year. And we always see it. We always say it. We want to see it first. We saw glimpses of it. We didn't see a full workload. We saw glimpses of it. We saw a 50-50 split. He's a great committee back.
Near the end of the year, he was around 60-40, and he ended up RB8.
Near the end of the year, he still wasn't consistent. I was talking with Dylan earlier before this. He still had an 11-point game. after he had his 19, 20, and 23-point game. That's not that great if you're getting a guy at RB 12.
But you'd like to think his work share should be more, man. That's the thing.
You would like to think that, yes.
One more question to end on, guys. Brandon goes, what about Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon? Same question.
Don't be sorry either. We love the questions.
Yes. I think that's going to be like a 55-45 split, Brandon, to be honest with you. I think Aaron Jones is going to get a lot of, work at the passing game. Might even line up in the slot a little bit as a wide receiver. You might see both of them on the field at the same time. I'm really high on A.J. Dillon. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty even split.
I know, I
swear,
swear.
right?
It's like you have liquidized
52,
version of
48.
A.J. Dillon, and you are just injecting it into your veins, man.
Let's go, man. I'm planting my
A.J.
flag.
Dillon's going to get the majority of the carries. We can all
I don't have that statted out. Aaron Jones statted out with more carries, but it's not by much.
I'm planting my flag in that big ass quad of his, man.
I got
50 Dillon.
I got 52% of the running back workload going to Aaron Jones, and I got 48 going to A.J. Dillon. I mean, I know I'm nitpicking here, but I do think Aaron Jones is still going to get majority of the carries. He's the guy Aaron Rodgers trusts in the red zone when it comes to passing the ball, which we've seen that Aaron Rodgers likes to pass the ball within the 5-yard line. So, yes, I know they got rid of Devontae Adams, but how do we know we're not going to pass it to Aaron Jones again? That's what they like doing in the red zone.
They will.
A.J. Dillon
Go ahead.
He already led the team in carries last year. Granted, Aaron Jones missed a few games, but I still think he's going to be the main runner because they're going to want to put Aaron Jones all around the offense.
Last year's, he had 100. Aaron Jones had 171 rushing attempts last year.
Yeah, and J. Dillon had like 180.
That's not that much. I know that's not that much, and if they are projected to run it a little bit more, like I said, exactly. Yeah. I'm projecting Aaron Jones just a smidge more of that because of the trust with Aaron Rodgers.
I get that.
But why wouldn't you trust A.J. Dillon now?
Yeah, he is going into his third season, man.
Who just led the team in carries and yards.
And he's not incompetent catching the ball either. I know we haven't seen it a ton, but he can do it. But go ahead, LaPlante.
I'm just saying.
I think they're both going to be good.
Great. We're nitpicking.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just think the ceiling is a little bit more in Aaron Jones' favor with the pass work, because we work on PPR.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about rushing share, to be honest.
Well, let me throw it 30 seconds,
That's
guys.
fair. It could be the same rushing share, but go ahead.
Who would you rather have at cost? Would you rather wait on A.J. Dillon, or are you okay taking Aaron Jones early in drafts? He is currently going as
running back 9, 10.
Jones going at running back 12 and overall the 20th player off the board, so mid-second round pick.
I think that's great value for a guy we've seen finish in the top 5 before.
And it's not like he's going to fall out of the top 12.
Yeah. I think both of them have great value. I don't know you can go wrong with either of them. I don't know why, but you know what? I didn't have my little rant earlier, but this is my rant. Man, respect the Green Bay running backs. I know they haven't had any good ones in past years, but man, this is probably the best tandem they've had in their history. They're gonna run the ball, and I don't think their ADP is caught up with their actual, what they're gonna finish at this year. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you can go wrong with either.
Yeah, no, I agree. But let's get out of here, guys. But before we do, I just want to remind you to all please subscribe to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. Smash that like button. Follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. It goes a long way, guys. It really does. You can follow me at dclevis2222. You could follow Mike LaPlante at @belike_Mike with 2 eyes, and you can follow Ike at Ike2121. We will be back next Tuesday for another show. And then I think, guys, we are back to our normal schedule of Friday nights for game previews, right? Mm-hmm. We're 2-3 weeks away from the season, guys, and it can't come any sooner.
I love it, Tyler.
Drive by shoe stings at DJ.
He's got the memory of an elephant from last year with those Sunday morning shows.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Sunday morning shows. But yeah, guys, check out everything else that's on the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel too. We got a ton of great shows right now. And I've just released the Everyday Fantasy Football podcast, the F6P Hour, the Fantasy Edge, everything. We got a lot of content coming.
DFS Den with Dave. You can win some good money if you listen to his tips.
There's just so much more coming, and we should have a live video, or we should have a podcast or video coming mostly every single day for you guys. So check it out. But until next week, it's
going to be overflowing with content, Dylan.
Yes, sir. But for Mike and Ike, I'm Dylan. We'll talk to you guys next week.